In this story, I'm going to talk about how I got into motorcycle racing and how my race bike got stolen. Coming up next. So as I mentioned, I was, really into drag racing at the time, and I got busted. So I thought, well, I probably shouldn't be street racing too much. After a while, I wanted to sell my race car. I was having a hard time. I had a lot of money wrapped up into this race car. I had probably $60,000, $70,000 wrapped up into the car, and early 90s Mustang. I was having a hard time getting the money I wanted for it. So this guy approached me and he said, hey, I'll give you some cash, not as much cash as you're looking for, but I also have this minivan I'll give you. And inside the minivan, I've got a race motorcycle, a drag race motorcycle, not a street race, So I'll give you the motorcycle, the minivan to bring the motorcycle around in, and the cash. And that'll should come close to what you're asking for it. And it didn't come close to what I'm asking for, but close enough that I was like, I didn't have any other better offers. And maybe I kind of just thought I could sell the motorcycle fast, because I never really wanted to get into racing motorcycles, even though I liked motorcycles, because I was just a little scared of it. So I took the deal, and then I realized you can't really sell the motorcycle unless you have time slips showing how fast it can go. And then so I found a guy that could race the motorcycle and get the time slips. And then, the goal was to sell it, So I ended up getting on it myself and taking a few passes. And, I was making better times than this professional driver that I hired was doing. I'm like, why do I need him then? I'll just do my own, I'll just race it. Then I started liking it. Then I'm like, maybe I'll just keep it and race it. So that's how that happened. Then I got really into racing motorcycles, and I was doing this world's fastest street bike shootout races, where it has to be a street legal bike. It can only have a certain length of swing arm, and so, this bike was already built up and was kind of ready for that. And it was, basically like a 8-second bike on nitrous. And so I raced it at those events. I went around, the country doing that. And also when I was in town, Chicago is a big street race, area. It was at the time. I don't know about now, because I haven't done it in a long time. But there was a place that we used to go called Doty Road. It's like 103rd and Stony Island Avenue or something. It's way east, of Chicago, almost by Indiana. And a lot of people go there and line up along this one street that's closed off, at nighttime for racing. And they would street race there, drag race on the street. And so I went there. I didn't race anything that night, but I went there and I brought the bike in case I got a race, and I was watching some races. And then, you're there, you race for a while, and then the cops come and break it up, and then everybody goes down the street and hangs out and comes back a little bit later when the cops are gone. So everybody came and, was there, and we were hanging out, and then the cops came and everybody left. And I'm looking around for my bike. I don't see my bike. It's not there. Somebody stole my bike. So now I'm like, I went there alone. So this guy, he's like a straggler, like everybody else is gone, and he's still driving around. And I should have thought that was a little fishy, but I didn't at the time. Well, he says, yeah, you're the guy with that fast bike. I'm like, yeah. Well, not anymore, because I don't see it. So he's like, yeah, I think, I saw a guy, mess around with it, So I'm like, well, you could have told me. He's like, well, you want me to give you a ride home? I didn't trust the guy. I let him give me a ride, but I told him like 2 or 3 blocks from my house. I'm like, oh, right here is fine. And then I got out. That was a big hassle. I didn't even get paid for it. The bike was worth a lot of money, like $50,000 or something like that. But insurance is going to give you book value for a 1990 GSXR 1100, which is like $3,000. So they didn't want to pay that. I had to get an attorney just to fight just to get that. So I ended up getting that. Funny thing is that a couple years later, like a year later, I heard that this guy got shot in front of his house. He gets up every morning at 4:30, and by 5:15 he goes out to his car to go to work. So one day when he came to his car, his tires were slashed. So he's out there changing the tire, and somebody came by and shot him. Sucks when karma comes around, huh? I didn't have nothing to do with that, by the way, in case anybody's gonna pin it on me. I didn't have anything to do with that. Just heard about it. I was now into racing motorcycles, and my bike got stolen, so I needed a new bike. So I went and got a Hayabusa, which at the time was it just came out, and it was the fastest production motorcycle in the world. Of course, it wasn't fast enough for me. I went and put a turbo on it, stretched it and put a turbo, and raced that a little bit. I was dating this one girl who was a complete speed demon. She loved it, and so she wanted faster, let's go. And I got it up to 204 miles per hour on the expressway with a passenger on the back. Now that's pretty fast for a guy to do alone on the bike. With a passenger, that's screaming fast. When you're going that fast, your helmet is like this, and it feels like it's going to come off your head. You got to have the strap on, or it will, and you can't do it for very long because you just start coming up on a group of cars, and you can't really weave that fast in between cars. So you just, if you see like a mile or two stretch, a couple miles stretch, you can maybe goose it and get it up to that, but you can't really sustain going that fast for long periods of time. But that was fun. Well, guys, if you're still watching, you must have liked the video. And if you did, give it a like. Now, if you want to see more like this, subscribe and click the bell. If you got some extra time on your hands, why not watch another one? You can choose one from the Stories of My Life playlist, which will appear here after I disappear. Or you could watch the next one in the series, which will also appear here. See you in the next one.